For nonprofit fundraisers, 2020 has been a volatile year, to say the least. You have been completely disrupted from your normal routine, plans, and strategies. But here we are, now headed into the fourth quarter of the year, and you need to figure out where you are on revenue compared to the goals you set. Who's behind goal? Who can give again this year? What strategies can I put into place that will help me finish the year strong? In today's podcast, Richard and I give you tips and strategies for how you can end 2020 as strong as possible so you feel you've done everything possible to meet your goals and establish strong relationships with your donors.
Welcome to the Nothing But Major Gifts podcast from Veritas Group, featuring Richard Perry and Jeff Schreifels. Twice a month, we bring you the latest and best thinking about major gift fundraising so you can develop authentic relationships with your major donors. Here are your hosts, Richard and Jeff.
Welcome to the podcast today. I have Richard Perry with me, as always, and today's podcast is all about helping you finish the year strong.
That's right, Jeff. 2020, it has been just like an incredible year. It's been tough. And I don't think we're out of the woods yet,
No.
But for MGOs who have been working their plans, here's the thing. We're actually seeing them meeting and even exceeding the current year-to-date revenue goals, which is like, whoa, it's amazing.
I know.
But, people may be wondering, well, how do I make sure I finish 2020, by doing my best work and make my revenue goals. So,
right.
We were thinking, let's just outline some strategies that NGOs could use right now.
Well, I've looked back at, we've been doing our blog for years and years now. Mm-hmm. And I look back at almost every year we have sometime in September, we've outlined areas for how people can finish the year strong. So I kind of got all of those together and compiled them. And I thought, let's do a podcast on this because this is now the time that everyone should be thinking about, okay, where are we at a year? Where am I going to end up at the end of the year? So let's start off by first saying, look, we need to first review the portfolio. Mm-hmm. Let's review where we are before we start doing anything. So the first thing you want to look at is how much are your caseload donors giving compared to their revenue goals by donor, and then also revenue goals, and then also compared to last year, and then really figuring out who's behind goal.
So you're saying take an individual donor on your caseload.
Yeah.
And look what they did in the past and what the goal is.
Right.
See what the variances are. Right. And so you're thinking, individually about it. Don't be looking at the whole big number like the bottom line, because that's not the thing to be looking at. It's look at the individual donor.
And that's a good point, because there could be some MGOs out there that they're just looking at bottom line, and they could say, let's just make this up. Their goal for the year was $1 million. And they're already at 1.2 million, and they still got, October through December to go. They could say, hey, I've already made my goal. I can relax a little bit.
Well, I had a situation like that where an MGO was way ahead of their goal because of one donor's large gift.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this, because she said to me, well, I guess I can relax for the rest of the year. And I said, no, hang on. Take that donor out.
Yeah. And
she was probably about like a 51% of her goal when you took that donor out.
Right. And that's why it's so important to do it donor by donor, because it's not just about the overall goal. Obviously, it's about those individuals and retaining revenue and those donors.
Right.
So going through every one of them and then looking at, okay, how many of these folks are already behind goal? So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Then the next thing is, let's look at those that are not making their goal and asking yourself why. And do you know the story behind each one of those donors?
Exactly. Yep.
And if you know the story, have you communicated to your manager what the story is? And
what you mean is if they're not giving and you know the story, you need to tell the manager so that that manager knows
exactly
why they're not giving, so that you don't look like somebody that's just sloughing off.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And this happens way too often where MGOs, they're all busy. I understand it. And there's some donors that are just behind and they never talk to their manager about it. And the manager since they're not being proactive with the manager will, peek into the thing and to their portfolio and go, hey, you got all these people behind their goal. What's happening? And then, you got to be in defensive mode rather be in the offense. If you see your donors behind and you know why, or if you don't know why, figure out why, and then relay that information to your manager. Be proactive.
Yeah, exactly.
Then the next thing is, given where you are now compared to your goal, predict where you're going to be at the end of the year and then communicate that up. So in other words, here you are, end of September, early October, and you know where you are to date, or you should be. You should have your goals so you know exactly where you are to date versus where your goal was. And then you're able to project based on what's supposed to be coming between October and December, what's going to come in, put that together. How close are you to your goal? And you should communicate that up now to say, okay, it's looking like I'm right on schedule, or right now I'm about 10% behind. If you put it together, I could be 10% short, but I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yep. Being intentional.
Yeah. The other thing is then, are there donors who've already hit their revenue goal and they could give again if you reached out and challenged them?
Oh, we can't ask the donor that's already given, Jeff.
I know. That is such a false
belief.
Yeah. And actually, this is where you have some leverage, because here these donors already made their goal, and you still have a whole bunch of time with them, because if you're doing all the right things, if you're stewarding properly, you're thinking, you're reporting back, you're also then looking out for opportunities that match their passion and interests. And let's say they gave in April, they gave the 25,000, they met their revenue goal for that individual. But gosh, what if I could bring them another offer that they would be really passionate about and ask them for another 10 or 15?
Well, I know. And it might be the same program, Jeff. I mean, if the donor's given to program X, you could be reporting on program X and actually say, here's the story on program X and what the variances are in terms of what we're trying to get done.
Yeah.
And what's still needed to get done. And there are a number of donors that just step right up and say, well, here, let me help some more.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So the last thing in your review of your portfolio, I call it think boldly. So within that portfolio, let's say you have a full portfolio of 150 donors. There's at least 2 or 3 that could make a significant gift if they were asked. And really look at that and say, okay, these 2 or 3, what if we did X, Y, and Z? Would we be able to ask for a significant transformational gift this year? And really start to plot out, okay, what would we need to do with these 2 or 3 donors between now and the end of the year to be able to ask for that gift and then the donor to say yes to it?
Yeah. And that's, there are donors like that in your caseload, so that you ought to be looking.
We know they are.
And here's the thing. Maybe 1 or 2 of those can come in and contribute something to this current calendar year.
Yeah, exactly.
But there might be another one that actually, needs a little more time to cultivate into next year or whatever. But either way, you're going down a really great track.
All right. So let me just quickly go over those 5 again. reviewing your portfolio right now. So looking at how much are your caseloads giving compared to your revenue goals and compared to last year.
By donor.
By donor. And then look at those who are behind goal. Get those people out and look at them. And then figure out, why are those donors not making their goal? Do you know the story? And if you know that, make sure you're managing up to your manager, your boss, and letting them know what's happening. Then, given where you are now compared to goal, predict where you're going to be at the end of the year. So you have an idea, what trajectory am I on right now to the end of the year?
Mm-hmm.
So you got that in your head. And then, are there donors who have already hit their goal that could make another gift if you challenge them? And then finally, think boldly and think about 2 or 3 donors that if you really spent some time with, could you ask for a significant gift before the end of the year or into the next year?
All really good points. So now, if you've done that homework, time to kind of get into action mode. And here's what we recommend. Set up meetings now with donors who are expected to make a gift in the last quarter of the year. Set those meetings up. Don't be waiting.
Yeah.
And if they're expected to meet now, you should be looking at, sending them material and to make sure that they understand, what's going on in the projects they like. So set the meetings up now. Set up meetings with donors who are behind.
Most likely Zoom or something. Most likely on Zoom.
Yeah. When we say meetings, we mean digital meetings.
Yeah.
Yep. Electronic meetings.
Yep.
So set those meetings up with anybody that's expected to make a gift in the last quarter of the year. Set up meetings with donors who are behind, so you double check that have you worked your plan? Are you communicating the right things?
Yep.
Just talking to them and connecting is going to be very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Here's a big point. Make sure you have us.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Jeff?
Well, that whole double checking to see if you've worked your plan.
Mm-hmm.
Go back that's one of the reasons why you might be behind with some of the donors, because you didn't work the plan with that donor like you said you were going to. This is why it's so important to have a strategic plan, so you can go back to it and go, okay, did I do all the things that I said I was going to do?
Well, yeah, the donor might be sitting there at home saying to herself, well, this is not really important to me, or this, they might be having a whole different view of what you're sending, which is what the third point is to make sure you have a strong case for support.
Yeah.
Are you actually aligned with the donor's passions and interests? And the programs that you're talking to them about. That's oftentimes, Jeff, what we find is that the major gift officer has gotten off track on that point and is just talking generally to the donor, and which is why the donor is basically saying, there really is no value that you're sharing with me, so I'm not interested, or they don't take action or whatever, which is why they're silent.
Yeah.
Next point is communicate all this. Talk to your donors.
Yep.
Your program people, your managers, let everybody know how donors are performing. You don't want surprises in your environment, management, and other people on the team.
I would schedule a meeting with your manager. If you're the MGO, I would schedule a meeting after you've done all the evaluation of your portfolio and wrote out a plan for what you're going to do between October and December, and just lay it all out for the manager to say, here's what is going on with my portfolio, and here's what I'm going to do so that we end the year strong. Wouldn't a manager love an MGO to do that?
They would. They would. Right? They really would. And it's actually just a smart thing to do in terms of what your manager's view of you is going to be as a major gift officer, because you're actually expressing, I'm on the case.
Yep.
And here's the downside. Here's the upside. Here's what I'm doing about it. I think the last point is to reevaluate again in December.
Yes.
Early December, who have you missed? What's not happening? Who needs a touch? Who needs a follow-up on a proposal?
Yeah.
Who could be asked for another gift? So those are the big points. So let me go over those points again. Yeah. Set up meetings now with donors.
Yep.
Who are expected to make a gift in the last quarter. Set up meetings with donors who are behind. Make a strong case for support. Communicate internally, externally. Be sure you've got communication going on, and then reevaluate everything again in early December, so that you can have time for corrections to what donors have been missed, or what else you need to do.
Yeah. I mean, if you do the evaluation and then you start executing October through December, here's the thing. That's all as a major gift officer that you can do. And that's the big point. There's all this pressure on you as a major gift officer to make your goals.
Yes.
But the one question, if you really have to answer this, is, did you work your plan? And if you did, that is all you have right?
Exactly. I mean, that's it. And oftentimes, major gift officers that are behind in their performance have actually strayed from the very detailed and personalized plan that they created, which is what the problem is.
I mean, here's the thing. Major gifts is often volatile. One donor of yours in your portfolio might have something happen to them or a bad year, and it could throw off your entire goal for the year. Just one donor. It's a volatile situation. But you can't control that. There's some things out of your control. The thing that you can control is, did you work your plan?
Yes. Exactly.
And at the end of the year, you look back and go, hey, I might have been off goal by $100,000, but here's why. But it had nothing to do with the fact that I didn't work my plan, because I did. And you were always proactive with your manager. You told them what was happening at all the time. That's all you can control.
And I think, Jeff, when you use the words, did you work your plan? It's not only about looking at what you designed in the past and are you actually doing it? It's also about evaluating the points on the plan. Is this point still right? Well, no, I got to modify it.
Exactly.
And so it's not only working the past design, but redesigning as you're going along because you have new information. It's both of those things.
Yep. Well, good stuff. Hey, we have a free resource for you, and it's a white paper called Creating Strategic Plans and Goals for Every Major Donor. And this is perfect for you. If you haven't done this, the planning part, this is a perfect white paper because it goes step by step how to do this for you. So just go to our website at veritasgroup.com and hit our resources tab, and you'll find the white paper there. That's veritasgroup.com. Hit the resource button and get the white paper called Creating Strategic Plans and Goals for Every Donor.
Yes, and thanks again so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us for the Nothing But Major Gifts podcast from Veritas Group. Richard and Jeff also write an ongoing blog that you can subscribe to for free at veritasgroup.com. Please join us again next time.